Rimuru sighed with relief after leaving Miles' estate. His nation didn't have any monster who was good at managing money. He was having Shuna handle the account books for them, but she couldn't do that forever. Right now she could still handle it at village level, but if it rose to national level, even Shuna would have to surrender. It would also be impossible for Rimuru to do it since it was too troublesome. That's why Miles came into his mind, and this man was a master of finance even in the human society. His brain revolved around money in ways few people ever experienced. He had connections with nobility and was running business with few different kingdoms. It seemed a waste for him to remain a merchant forever, so Rimuru was sure Miles would be a great help to him. And most importantly, Miles-kun knew how to be flexible. If he could handle finances for them, maybe he'd allow Rimuru a little more spending money to work with. So he looked forward to grabbing tons of cash and bigger actions. Rimuru laughed in his mind and admitted he was kidding. He thinks the nation's treasury has plenty of money, but taking all of it for himself without paying any salary to his staff seemed kind of a low thing to do. It made him feel kind of guilty. Everyone always said, "Oh, it's all yours, Rimuru-sama," but it made him more afraid to take anything. Yet, Rimuru still needed some of it, since he wanted to take people like Datta out at night every now and then, even when he didn't have much interest in it. Veldora was also arguing that he wanted to come along, which was super annoying. Visiting that type of store would cost some money one way or another. This amount was nothing compared to the national treasury, but if it were just Rimuru's pocket money, the expense would be so ridiculous that he'd be spending it all in one place. Plus, Shuna usually provides him with money, but as soon as she heard the location Rimuru had visited, she would confiscate his wallet immediately. Under those circumstances, Rimuru thinks about how could he even ask the question, "Isn't the money from the treasury my money anyway?" That's why he was running a few side jobs for extra spending cash, so that there would be no such concern in the future. He even ended up with the intriguing plan to host a martial tournament. Miles is such a talented guy. Rimuru had no idea how the merchant interpreted his words, but Miles' enthusiasm for planning exceeded his imagination. Once Rimuru gets back, he'll need to tell everyone to construct an arena fast. While Geld was helping the Beast Kingdom rebuild their city, Merd would need to assist him as well. With their two main building specialists, he'd have to oversee the operation. Under normal circumstances, such a project would take up to a dozen years, but with the strength of monsters, the time can be reduced tremendously. With that being said, the time left before the festival was just barely more than 2 months. Even Rimuru had to admit that was far too little time to get everything done. So they should just lay out the stages this time. But how would they design them? Wisdom King Raphael immediately responds, "Answer. From my master's memories, I have found the Colosseum of Rome. Construction of blueprint based on this information is successful." Well, that was easy. Rimuru started to sketch and add up his ideas on it. This alone would normally take several months to reach this design. From the field measurement, calculation of construction intensity. In addition, the design graph of it was supposed to be sketched in a computer for a few days, but now all Rimuru needed to do was draw it out by hand. And of course, with the support of Wisdom King Raphael on such details, had also been boosted in efficiency. Rimuru was now in Bloomin Kingdom. He wanted to drop by the Freedom Association. But first, Rimuru decided to send the design graph to Gobku first, so he calls someone, "Ranga, are you there?" And Ranga replied, "Yes, my master." Rimuru summoned Ranga, and it stuck its head out from his shadow and responded. Since the plan to conquer Pharma's kingdom had been settled for a while, everyone except Diablo had returned. Rimuru handed the sketch to Ranga and instructed, "Hand this to a craftsman in the town by the name of Gobku. By the way, could you help me by asking whether they have time to gather at the West Gate?" And Ranga responds, "Very well. But are you not returning, Rimuru-sama?" And Rimuru answers, "No. Since I've come all the way here, I want to visit Fuse first before returning." And Ranga got concerned, "If that's the case, shouldn't you need a bodyguard to accompany you?" Rimuru thinks that despite how he looks, he's still a demon lord after all. At the moment he wasn't getting careless and had absolute defense running. If he runs into an attack that could penetrate that barrier, he wouldn't be safe anywhere in this world. So he thinks that Ranga is just being paranoid. So he assures him, "I'll be fine. I'm just going to have a little chat with him. But I should be more concerned about Miles. He's gotten kind of tangled up with some bottom feeder noble. There's no way of knowing what that type of person would do." And Ranga asked, "Oh, are you referring to that vulgar man from before? Should I go and bite him to death?" And Rimuru got terrified. That kind of thing is something you can't do as it's gonna cause huge problems. So he says, "You know, I think you've been hanging with Xian too long. I think you'd better relearn some normal values." Ranga got shocked at Rimuru's comment. He wasn't self-aware at all. And Rimuru recalls some memories. "During your last battle, did you really adhere to my orders? Have you really not overdone things?" And Ranga seemed kind of shaken. "There's no such thing, master." Rimuru recalls the report he received from Gobta and Gabiru. No problem at all. Alright, we were lucky to have Ranga-sama there, he was really reliable." Rimuru had already felt something was suspicious, but did not ask for details. It just seemed like an invitation for further headaches, so he left those matters for Diablo to take care of. Since that guy hasn't complained about anything, Rimuru will just pretend everything was fine. And Rimuru hoped Ranga could be more cautious in the future to stay away from getting poisoned by Xian. So he says, "Ranga-kun? Do it as a favor for me, don't do anything crazy, okay?" Ranga nodded obediently in response, concluding this ordeal. And Rimuru added his command, "Good. Now go relay that message, okay? By the way, if there are any people available from the security department, send them to protect Miles. Check on that, could you?" And Ranga gladly replies, "Yes, master." With that being said, Ranga once again snuck into Rimuru's shadow and set on his way to return home. Rimuru opened the gate to the building of the Freedom Association branch in Bloomond and entered. He was afraid he would go overboard and cause commotion, but he was only greeted by "Who are you?" He felt relieved and responded, "Heyo. My name is Rimuru. Could you help slide a message for the guild master Fuse? Oh, take this, it's my identity card." Rimuru had long gotten used to it by now, but luckily the reception lady still remembered him. She blushed and gazed at Rimuru mesmerized. She says, "Ah, you must be Rimuru-san. Long time no see. How have you been?" And Rimuru responds, "I'm doing fine, very lively. You're looking quite well yourself." And she gladly answers, "I sure am. And I see you've passed the examination over at HQ and made it to B+. Impressive, I truly admire you." And Rimuru said, "Ah, right. I wanted to go through the rank A test, but I've been busy lately." Rimuru actually felt it was too troublesome. Since he'd already ranked up above rank B, his access increased with it, and with it came more responsibility. Rimuru and the lady talked for a while until Rimuru asked, "Anyway, are you able to reach Fuse-san?" And she responds, "Ah, yes. Please come by and register by that time. Then, I shall lead the way for you." Seeing that someone was personally guiding Rimuru, commotion began spreading behind his back. He hears them talking, "Is this serious? Who the hell is that girl?" And others shared the same conversation. "Oh, no way. That fellow turns out to be such an adorable little girl?" And someone responds, "Unbelievable. So that's what the Rimuru dono who defeated the lesser demon with ease looks like. And she had the same name as that demon lord, huh?" And someone realized something, "You think it might actually be him?" And someone laughed at him, "You silly, how could that be possible?" It seemed more and more people were spreading rumors about Rimuru, though there was nothing to worry about, it was all within what he expected. They only shared the same name, and it was fortunate that no one appeared to realize that he was the actual demon lord. Maybe the name Rimuru wasn't that uncommon after all. As he thought so, he walked towards the room Fuse was waiting in.